Well, hello, my kindergarten friends, and welcome back to Library Class at Home with Mr. S. We are in our final week. This is our last full week of school. We've got school today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday again, and then it's summer. How cool is that? We are finally here at the end of the school year. So I've saved some very special books for the end of the school year. These are books that I love to read every year. I don't always read them at the same time. Sometimes I read them in the spring, sometimes I read them in the fall, and sometimes I save them for the very, very last week, which is where we are now. So these books this week are my absolute favorites. The first one I want to read you is called The Tiny Seed. It was written and illustrated by Eric Carle, and it's a great book for this time of the year because there are seeds turning into flowers all over the place. All you have to do is take a look outside around your house or maybe in the park, and you'll see there are lots of things blooming right now. So this is the story of a tiny seed and how it becomes an amazing big flower. So let's check this story out. All right, it starts in autumn, and autumn, as you may remember, is called fall. It's when all the leaves fall down. So it's autumn, and a strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with them, and where are they all going? One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up, up, up it goes. It flies too high and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seed continues along with the others. So we had a bunch, and now one of them got burned up by the sun. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. That's it right there. The ice never melts and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but the tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. So now we lost another one. This one landed in the snow and can't grow there. Now they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and a fish gobbles it up. The others sail on with the wind, but the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. So we lost another seed in the water. I bet the fish was happy now. One seed drifts down into the desert. It is hot and dry in the desert, and the seed cannot grow. Now the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind still pushes it along with the others. So now we're just down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big ones and the tiny one. This one landed in the desert, and a lot of plants cannot grow in the desert. Finally, the wind stops and the seeds fall gently to the ground. A bird comes by and eats one, but the tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not see it. What about you, boys and girls? Do you see it? Well, it's not this one, right? Because the bird is eating that one. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is the tiny seed. Now it is winter time. After their long trip, the seeds settle down. They look just as if they are going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground finds one of the seeds and eats it for his lunch. But the tiny seed lies very still, and the mouse does not see it. So that's another seed gone. So we have 1, 2, 3 left, plus the tiny seed. Now it is springtime. After a few months, the snow has melted. It is really spring. The birds fly by, the sun shines, and the rain falls. The seeds grow so round that they start to burst open a little. Now they are not seeds anymore. Now they are plants. First they send their roots down into the earth. Then their little stems and leaves begin to grow up toward the sun and air. Now there's another plant growing much faster than the new little plants. That is a big fat weed. It takes all the sunlight and rain away from one of the new little plants, and that plant does not grow anymore. The tiny seed hasn't begun to grow yet. It will be too late. But finally, it too starts to grow into a plant. So we had our 4, right? The 3 big ones and the tiny seed. But this weed grew right in front of one of the little ones, so it can't grow. It doesn't have enough sunlight. So we have 1, 2 of the big plants left and the tiny seed which has just started to grow. The warm weather also brings the children out to play. They too have been waiting for the sun and springtime. One child doesn't see the plant as he runs along and he breaks it. Now that one cannot grow anymore. So we only have two left, right? The last of the big ones and the tiny seed, because this kid stepped on that plant. The tiny plant that grew from the tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has 7. And look, a bud and even now a flower. But what's happening? First there are footsteps, then a shadow looms over them, then a hand reaches down and breaks off the flower. A boy has picked the flower to give to a friend. Well, that's kind of nice, right? I like to pick flowers sometimes. I give them to myself. It is summer. Now the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on and it doesn't stop. The sun shines on it and the rain waters it. It has many leaves. It grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It is taller than the houses. And now a flower grows on it. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. All summer long, the birds and the bees and the butterflies come visiting. They have never seen such a big and beautiful flower. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter, the nights grow cooler, and the wind carries yellow and red leaves past the flower. Some petals drop off from the giant flower and they sail along with the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. The wind blows harder. The flower has lost almost all of its petals. It sways and it bends away from the wind, but the wind grows stronger and shakes the flower. Once more the wind shakes the flower, and this time the flower's seeds pop open. Out come many tiny seeds that quickly sail far away on the wind. And that, boys and girls, is the end of the story. But if you think about it, it's exactly like the beginning of the story, right? In the very, very beginning of the story, way back here, it was autumn, and the seeds were blowing away. Now, the book ends and it's autumn, and the seeds are blowing away. So do you think these tiny seeds will become giant flowers? I think they will. Also, Mrs. S., let me ask you a question. What kind of flower do you think this is?
It looks like a sunflower to me.
It does look like a sunflower.
But I've never seen one that big.
I have seen some pretty giant sunflowers in different parts of the country. Mrs. S., do you know where the biggest, most beautiful sunflowers come from?
Where?
They come from Mexico.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's right. Mexican sunflowers are gigantic. Some of them can be huge. So that's something pretty cool. So, yeah, they come from Mexico. I didn't know that until I looked it up on the internet.
We're going to plant some, right, Ms.
We
Rice?
are. We're going to plant some out in the garden. Maybe I'll get around to showing you where I'm going to plant them. So, boys and girls, that was my story. I hope you liked it. You can drop me a line on my Google Classroom page and tell me if you liked it. Also, we only have a week and 1 day of school left, so I'm going to be answering your questions on Monday. So if there's a question you have for me, like how do I make my videos, or what does my house look like, or what do my children do during the day, or something like that, you can ask me on my Google Classroom page, and I will read through them during the week, and I will try to answer as many of them as I can next Monday. So have a great day, boys and girls, and check back tomorrow for another great story. See you then.